Hey guys, I want to talk to you today about your list. Everybody in the online marketing arena, shall we say, everybody's talking about building your list and getting more people onto your list. Well, that's the first thing, that's one of the ways that you can go about it. But essentially, for a lot of people that I know, they will build a list and the list will just sit there. So there's a list of potential customers that you have there that you have spent money on building. And then you'll get them there, they go through the original funnel that you put them into, and you know what happens then? Nothing. Because, to be honest with you, most of the percentage of people who actually buy from that first funnel is pretty small. And where you actually make most of the money is from your relationship you build with that actual list itself. So that if you are sitting there and you've got a list, whatever it is, a couple of hundred, even 50 people or a couple of thousand people, essentially if you're not talking to them, you're not building a relationship with them, and you're not making any money out of them. And that when I say that thing of making money out of them, I used to think about it as in like somebody wins from the transaction. So if you win, you get paid. Whereas I've actually come around to it now, it's a transaction, is that they will be happy to pay you if you give them enough value. And that's the whole point of anything. That's the reason you buy anything. When you go out, you buy food, you pay money to get sustenance so that it keeps you going. And it's the same thing with this, is that if you give enough value to the people who are on your list, you find some way of connecting with them, that's all that matters. And I know for a lot of people who start out, they're afraid of talking to their list. They're afraid of actually writing things down, putting down their own story, because they're like, what does my story have anything to do with it? Nothing exciting. The whole thing is that people aren't looking for people that are very, very far down the road. They're looking for people who are closer to where they are, because they can actually relate to them. And when they can relate to you, that's what matters, because if you relate to somebody, you buy from them because you trust them. Whereas if you can't relate to them, it's all a bit iffy anyway. So essentially that's what I'm saying, is that you need to get away from what have I got to offer these people to just start telling stories. Tell your stories, tell other people's stories. But essentially you're going to be giving value to them, whether that's training, free ebooks, whatever it is. Give them some sort of value that they begin to trust you. And that trust is all that matters, is that you need to get talking to these people, speak to them often, and essentially the way you speak to them is that if you're sending out emails, send them out at different times. Find out which ones give you a better open rate, and then stick to that one. But the whole thing is that if you're sending them out sporadically, send some of them out at midnight, some of them out at 9 in the morning, some of them out at 2 o'clock in the day, you need to figure out what ones work. Excuse me. And that's what it comes down to, is just you need to start hitting your list up. You put out broadcasts, you send them emails, and you build that relationship with them. If you're not doing that, you're wasting your time. And the more you do that, and the first one you put out there, you'll put it out there in 6 months, I guarantee you'll look back at that one and you'll cringe. But that's the whole point, because that means you're making progress. If you don't start out and put them out there today, in 6 months you'll still be here worrying about, what if I put them out there? What if somebody I know sees this? All the fears you have about it. And I'm here to say that all the fears you have, to be honest with you, most of them are never going to happen. So take that step today. Start talking to your list. You've paid money to get people into that list. People have opted in. They've put their hand up saying, I want information on whatever it is that you were gotten to opt in for. Go back and give them more information. Give them more value. Build that relationship.